Hello everyone, welcome back to more chess, playing 1510 as white against Easkin? I don't know. I'll just kind of do my thing and see what my opponent's opening turns out to be. Yeah, is this like French? I think this is Pirc, right? French is way more defensive than this. I think it's like here or something. I don't know. It seems to be actually striking at the center. I mean, we could develop this with check, but there's just this pawn move, which I think my opponent would be happy enough to play, or one of these moves, which again, I don't think they would mind so much. So maybe a different post for my bishop. Often he winds up here, not against this. Um, Probably should do something about this pawn. I could trade. Do they take with the queen in that case? I don't think they would be thrilled to have me. Oh, it wouldn't be a check. Yeah, it would. This would still be here. So here, sorry, takes, whatever, takes. Seems a little awkward for the opponent. They either go into a pin with the bishop or the queen. Presumably the bishop. I don't know. I'll give this a try. I think they take with the queen, though. No? Okay. Alright, so they have a pinned bishop. Anything we can do about that? We could go here. Doesn't really help. Just grab some center. So we want to be careful of knights arriving to attack the queen. Or this bishop pin, I guess, would be a thing as well. What if I was saying, oh, what if I do that so I can get my bishop here? No, it would just be captured. We could try to keep the bishop away with this prophylactic move. I'm not super keen on that. It's a little early to be playing something like h3, and if I was going to, it maybe should have been last move. But I don't know, I wanted some center. I think if they wanted to go here, and then when kicked, actually trade, bring my queen in, I guess that would be okay. The problem is, what if they back up? I don't really relish that idea. I think my queen's post is just fragile enough that, ugh, but they're going to try and get a knight here. Yuck. My queen's post is fragile enough that I think I want to stop a knight from getting pinned to her. Let's try this. I guess she always could have escaped like this, maybe? Alright, so they're castling. Let's get a knight out. Okay, threatening some discovery. Ooh. My king and queen are on that file. That's a little unpleasant. I guess we can just jam the bishop in if they try, though. Right, what are they going to do with the bishop that requires an immediate response? I guess this. If here, I would be pretty sad to play bishop here, because then they just grab the pawn. So maybe we bring a bishop into the pin straight away. Or try to stop the bishop getting there, of course. But that's yet another pawn move. I'd rather just address this pin before it becomes a problem. I don't feel like I've gotten the better of this opening. Hmm. Why should I care? Like, if you want to make that trade, I think I'm happy. I can do this to kind of encourage them to trade. But then they would just like kick my queen away with a pawn, and that would be pretty unpleasant for me. I want to get the bishop involved, but there's no good way to do it. So I want to get castled. So maybe I go like this, encouraging this trade. And then when attacked, queen can back up to like here, maybe. Or I don't know, here. And then the bishop's available to probably land on d3. I guess there's weird stuff like this. Making it hard for my queen to escape. I think she could duck over this way, though. I'm going to give this a try. Oh, okay. That's cute. Didn't think about that. Go away. It's still defended. Okay, yeah, that's true. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. But oh, I don't have enough on this knight. This pawn. Chase it again? Sure. Then it has to back up to here, which is not such a great square. Yeah, it is. It's attacking this pawn. They love being there. But okay, I finally get to get this bishop doing something, I think, so I can castle. It's a little dangerous because this is an escape route my queen might like to have. Like to here. But I think she would be okay going this way, no? I think so. I'm definitely like, I'm all in a knot here. Like, I have developed pieces, but they're all pretty restricted in what they can do. There are surely some tactics against me somewhere. For example, there's this rook sack, which doesn't really work. It wins this pawn, but it loses a rook for the bishop, so I don't think it would be a great idea. Yeah, we were going here in that case. What's there's got to be a name for like I don't know some children's game where you have to be very delicate and careful. The queen is playing such a game. I can't think what it is. Uh, I don't know. It's not hopscotch. I'll tell you that. It's the only children's game I can think of at the moment. Red Rover. Okay, so I can castle now, which would be a great relief. Could play this, which is awful, but you know, just looking at moves that are legal, I guess, is how I play chess. On occasion, usually I miss a lot of legal moves, but this time that was one I looked at. So there you go. We got to get out of that. Although there are still going to be problems, I think, somehow. Maybe if this? No. I think it's okay. Actually, this whole time my bishop wasn't defending that pawn because it was pinned. And so they could have just taken it with their knight and bishop, now that I think about it. Now I'm out of the pin, that's not true anymore. But I think they could have just won this piece this pawn a while ago. It kind of feels like I've negotiated this situation okay. I think I'm still tactically vulnerable somehow, but it's not nearly as bad as it was a little while ago. And I've got decent amounts of space out of my pawn moves, and my pieces are in okay positions, except for the queen, who sucks. And they're just now putting a second defender on this, because I had two attackers. That makes sense. I gotta make some rook move. These are obvious candidates. I guess I could play knight here, attacking this bishop. I don't really see that accomplishing much. It just backs off. Keeps its eye on this pawn. And yeah. It does let me push the pawn, though? I'm not ready to do that yet. But I might want to someday. Knight, bishop. Pawn. Doesn't seem good because my rooks are not ready. But where would I want the rooks in case I did do that? The file that would be opening up would be this one. I would want a rook behind this pawn. So let's not commit with this rook. Let's have this guy ready to go here. Sorry. Let's commit only with this rook to one of these two files. And I think this one is fine. Contests the enemy rook, guards this bishop a bit better. Spooky. What are you up to, Queenie? Maybe we do this with the knight. That seems pretty cool. Now we're attacking the queen, we're attacking the bishop. I feel like they have to trade this bishop in. And then I get to go here, which is nice. I'll be attacking this pawn. I'm not sure I want to go for it necessarily, but it's a threat. And I'll have a pawn on the 5th rank, which is nice. It's not a passer, but it's past one of the pawns that could capture it. Also, I got the bishop for the knight, which is, something. It was not a very good knight when it was sitting here. So I think this is a small accomplishment. I'd love to get pieces here, obviously. These are the two squares I should be somehow doing something with. My opponent, meanwhile, has these squares, which, a knight can get here. But I would happily trade this bishop for him, I think. I don't want to get my knight here first, though. No, because this is not... It's defended by the pawn, but I don't... this pawn is already doing a great job supporting this other pawn. I don't want to just let them trade off a knight to break this apart. Okay, we got the opponent thinking for the first time all game. Yeah. So that's a very natural move. If I had to guess, it would be the top move I would have guessed for them. Can we now push c4? Take c4. Ugh. c4 takes, gets me this kind of okay bishop. But they could trade bishops if they wanted, and I think they'd be happy to. But I'd also love to break down that pawn. the only thing letting a knight get here. I imagine some tactics like this, maybe? If I get the bishop off, then this attack the rook. It's not great because I can just take the bishop afterward, but they have to recapture. No, they could recapture with the queen. I was hoping I could maybe attract the rook over here that way, but it doesn't really work. All right, let's get this rook to a better place. I don't know, maybe I should have tried to double here. That seems like it might be too much, but maybe not. Yeah, maybe I wasted a move by doing that, because I don't really want to push c4. And if I was going to push c4, I should have put the rook here. If I'm not pushing c4, I should have put a rook here, or like maybe this, to support this battery. Okay, do I not just deflect this by sending the knight back where he came from? I guess they're trying to get a knight here. So that I have to trade off my reasonably good bishop for their knight. Wait, do I not have this defended enough? If I move knight here, takes. I would then have to get the queen out of the. Well, I would just have to. I wouldn't be able to retake with the queen. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's make them commit to it, I guess. And then how do I get. How do I take this bishop once it gets there? I guess knight here. Okay. I mean, I guess I don't have to take the knight, but he's doing so much here. He's such a good piece, and the only way I can get rid of him really is, well, I could bring my knight over, actually. Then they could take this bishop, which would be fine with me. I wouldn't mind that, I think. Maybe I could let the knight live there for a turn to let me trade off a knight instead of my light square bishop. But it would be trading off the knight or the dark square bishop, according to my opponent's preference, which they would probably choose the dark square bishop, but at least I can make them commit to that. And it would get another defender here so that I could take the pawn if they came in. Oh, they're just going to back up. Okay. Interesting. This, I think, is not really anything. Okay. Fine. Now that I can't really go anywhere good, I'm covering both of these squares. I'm not sure what that was about. I thought they should have planted it, but maybe they wanted to preserve this pawn instead of use it for something. Okay, this is attacking the queen. I don't much care for that. This is a good bishop. I'm a little sad to trade him. But I think this exchange would be okay for me. Getting this file that the enemy rook is on closed back off is kind of cute, and it gives me a rook x-raying the queen. I can live with this. It also gives my queen access to this diagonal soon. Right, they don't actually want to take here because it unveils this. And I get this monster knight. I don't think they want to push the pawn either, because here is pretty sweet. I think. Maybe it's not. Because they could maneuver a bishop or the queen over there to threaten it, and I can't really support it anytime soon. So maybe I can't do that. But this attacks the queen and the knight. I don't think I want to take the knight if I have the chance, though. Because this would be desirable for the opponent. But if they don't take with the knight now, I have this push, right? Is that something? I guess it's not. It's not defended enough. They could just take with the bishop, and then if I take with rook, I lose rook. So I would want to provide more support for that somehow before I can push it. So instead, I think I'll just enjoy those pawns. What am I going to do if they move the queen? Move the bishop, maybe? To where? Here? Get him out of this rook's way, maybe? Plan to tuck him back into one of these two squares? Maybe this one? So my king still has an escape? I guess. I'd like to get the queen moving somewhere better so that I can get this pawn into action. There's nowhere very good for her to go. Ooh, really? What's this about? Trying to get a rook behind the queen to attack this, maybe? Or, I don't know. Pile up on the knight, but I have it sufficiently defended. So if I go here, rook here puts this pawn under some pressure that I can't really cope with. Well, no, because then I could take the knight, and it would be fine. I just don't want to take the knight is the problem. I'd be happy to if I had a bishop here, I guess. Okay. Let's see how that turns out. Because this feels like a natural follow-up to their move, but I think it's losing to this. That's not to say it's the follow-up they will take. It just feels natural, and I'm denying it, which is nice. Is there some tactic anywhere? Yeah, I mean, there's this. And then if they capture with pawn, I have bishop takes. If they capture with queen, that's fine, but I don't think that's what they want to do. They want to open this rook up, and now's my chance to not let them do that, I guess? Attack the queen? Force her to back off a bit? Open this up? Seems exciting. Okay. This is good, right? This attacks her again, and if takes, we get this rook attack. And my pawns are getting very threatening now. I guess I could have just done this and attacked the pawn immediately, but they can always deflect, so I don't think it's that exciting. Okay, the queen backs up way down there, huh? What about this? I don't think it accomplishes anything. It makes them play here, which I don't think they like, but they're not terrified of it. The main threat now is this. So I think I should get a rook behind it, probably? Sure. I guess this push is a little unpleasant, maybe? Now the queen's doing a lot. Attacking all of these things, and the queen has to defend them all. I don't think she can. Well, here? I guess. But it keeps her pretty busy. Gives me a chance to bring this rook in as well. Take the rook with check seems pretty good. Double check? Like, is there some reason this is horrible? I don't think my king's in that much danger. And then just take another pawn, attacking the bishop, and everything's falling apart, I think? Or push? No. We could go here, defend our pawns, and attack. No, we're not even defending this one. Okay. I mean, I guess that's true. You got me there. My queen is going to have to go away a bit. But I was thinking, take this. Defends this pawn. And provides a potential route to promotion for this one. I just have to make sure I don't drop a queen or my king, and I should be peachy keen here. Oops, that's the wrong piece to move. Here we go. There's a light square bishop, so I guess it could go here and threaten this. I'd be okay with that. I feel obviously pretty good about winning this game, but there's still plenty of room to make a mistake. Queen's threatening my rook. I'd rather you didn't. Just go here, probably? I could hang out here to like defend my king a bit better. This is the square you might get checkmated on somehow. Even then you could move. Let's just defend the rook by moving it. Well, then you just attack it again, right? Let's defend it by putting it next to the king so that it can't be attacked. Or anyway, not by the queen. this pawn is their biggest asset. Obviously the queen, right? I mean, yes, that is definitely their best asset. But in terms of like where they can create more value, it's the pawn. It's sort of close to promotion. It's threatening an important square here. Yeah, go ahead. Trade if you want. Just one more piece I don't have to worry about. I would have liked to promote it, but it's going to be a bit hard. Now all I want to do is trade queens. Check. Take this pawn next. I don't see a way to trade queens right now. I can't attack both of these pieces without just being captured. I could go here, but anyway, this defends another pawn, which is nice, but not really crucial. That would just drop the rook, so probably bad. Okay. The queen and the pawn defend each other. You better get out of there, queen. This next, maybe? Depends how she tries to defend the pawn. I'm sure there's something cleaner. Okay, she's attacking this square, but I don't really care. If you push the pawn, the rook takes it for free. If you do anything else, I take it with, say, the bishop. And it's guarded by the rook, obviously. I guess there are other moves you could make. This, I would not, in that case, capture the pawn. I would recapture and win. All right. So I feel like this game. First of all, what was this called? Is it the Pirc? No, it's the French. Okay. I guess that's right. Against the French, I'm supposed to push this. That's way more normal. I usually when my opponent makes a move that is not like a pawn to one of these two squares, I'm usually like, great, let's grab some more center. This game, I just sort of forgot to do that and developed a knight. And it's not a very popular option. And not especially good either, I think. Right? It's fine. It's apparently they're both playable. But a more normal thing for me to do would be d4. And indeed, it says everybody takes d5 here. Most players. Let's get out of here. I want to just like analyze. So this felt good at the time, but it didn't really develop into anything that great. I got this pin, but I didn't get to do anything with it, and it was just sort of I had developed my queen, and they developed their bishop, and typically you would prefer to develop bishops over developing queens. I think this is just like a bad idea, and I could have gone with this and transposed into like, I don't know, what's this called? Still the French defense knight variation, huh? But in fact, d4 is overwhelmingly the most popular here. This queen check is played less than 1% of the time. It's very bad. And very unpopular anyway. Is it bad? I assume it is. Yeah. It seemed cute, but it didn't really work out. I thought this pin would be cool, but I couldn't actually do anything about it. There's not enough time to develop pieces that attack this square. And so all I was doing was making my opponent develop their bishop into maybe not its favorite square, but it is developed. And meanwhile, creating a problem for my queen and king in the later game. So I think that that was a bad idea. I could therefore have chosen not to capture here. I already feel like I've given my opponent an edge here, yeah, and white's no longer ahead. But I think once I've done this, I should capture and just not do this. Do something like d4 and transition into some opening where we've thrown away the e-pawns, we've each put a d-pawn, and I've developed a knight, which seems totally fine. If we were to go like this, yeah, it's like fine. But I didn't do that. I really played h3, huh? What a move. I was just terrified of this. Should I be? Nobody else seems to think so. I've just had so many bad games where I get pinned like that. Yeah. Just need to develop more pieces. This was a bad move, playing scared. I even would be happy for them to come here and like trade. I don't know if like let's say I develop a bishop there. It actually says g5 would be better. Seems fair enough. But suppose I play some such move like that. And they do go in for the move I was terrified of. I could just play this, and if they trade, I'm thrilled. If they back up, like, okay, whatever. My knight is pinned, but not terribly oppressively. I have bigger problems like this, I think. Like a knight getting here is something I should actually worry about. So I think it would be better to maybe play this to stop the knight getting there. That would be another, it says here, reasonable option. So either of those I think would be better. Now I developed a knight, seems great. Blocked with the bishop, a little bit like unpleasant, but I think it would have been even worse not to do so. This move. They found this cool knight move, which I didn't really consider. Put my queen kind of in hot water. I wanted to encourage this trade, but I also wanted to get my queen off of that square. But I think this might have been just better. They would just back up, but then this. Yeah, okay, so I think here this would have been a better play. Okay. So instead I played the queen here. Yeah, this has now never occurred. We're in a novelty. That's actually interesting. Come back. This was not a novelty. This has happened before. In 2 games on Lichess, we've arrived at this position. Unsurprisingly, playing ace... Well, no, I guess a6 is throwing a cool punch, sure. We can't just take the bishop. We have to move the queen first, and I don't know, here? I was going to say, unsurprisingly, white wins if you forget to rescue your bishop, but no. You're attacking the queen, and that's a more important threat. Okay, anyway. So we arrived at this position. Chase the bishop away for a bit. I wonder if I could have tried this knight move first, actually, now that the bishop is, like, currently stuck. Huh. Is there some threat against the queen? Ah, yes. Here, retreat with the queen. Bishop retreats. So I don't actually get the bishop anyway if I do that. So I might as well do something else. that bishop move seems okay. Queen back is the only move. I feel like they gave me some breathing room here. There must be something more powerful you can do. Oh yeah, you were supposed to take this ages ago. So this has been hanging here forever. Like ever since this queen move. No, because there's no attackers on it. Now there's one. Now there are two attackers. So at this point, I dropped this pawn. I could have run back with the queen. I think that's what I had to do. Because there's no other good way to defend it. I guess knight here, but that's also pinned. Well, it unpins the bishop or the knight. One of them could take. So that would also defend the pawn, I guess. So that's a move. That's a move. I kind of... Ugh. It's kind of getting in my bishop's face, but maybe I can maneuver the knight out later someday. In the meantime, let the queen maneuver through here. I don't know. It seems obviously not... This doesn't seem like a good position for me. It seems like I'm currently behind maybe a pawn. Oh, a lot more than that. Okay. So I knew this knight getting here would be unpleasant. Yeah. Whew. It says castle to defend the pawn. Didn't think of that one. It defends the pawn twice because it adds this bishop as a defender as well as adding the rook as a defender. So this bishop move was horrible, as I discovered or as I noted later in the game. This queen move would have been bad. Castling queenside feels very dangerous to me, but actually apparently it's not really any better than queen d3. Interesting. It needs some thinking to work out that this is not horrible. Well, it's bad, but anyway. So those are some alternatives that we had. This was just bad. And opponent kicked my queen, which seems fine. Still didn't notice that they can take the pawn. I castled, and now the pawn is back. Am I back like in the driver's seat here? It's not as bad. My pieces are still in bad positions, but I'm not losing material in the center. This queen move seems very natural. The knight threatens this, so we kind of have to do something with her. I'm not sure about this. This seems to take a lot of the pressure off of me. It's defending the... Ah, right. The point is that the pawn is only defended once. Yes. So they have to make a move like that, or else I get this pawn. With the knight and then the queen. This rook move, kind of aimless. Seems like useful in the abstract, in that we are getting on the open file. Hoarding a somewhat precarious bishop. But I think I could have gone in for this sooner. However, once they played queen here, I think I'm ahead at this point. Yeah. Out of curiosity, what was I thinking of my rook move? It's fine. Move any rook to anywhere. They're all okay. And now this is just tremendous. I don't know about this rook move. I had a lot of indecision at this point. I think getting it behind the c-pawn would have been better. So that I could play this more easily. Stockfish, what do you think? Bishop here. Okay. Is this any good? No. Interesting. Why? I mean, my plan was to push here. Maybe it's just a bad plan. I don't know. Threatening this pawn doesn't seem that important to me. I guess the point is it's opening this up as well. Sure. They attacked my queen. I think this was the wrong move. I think I was supposed to go here. And they were definitely supposed to play the knight into this square, right? No? It's a mistake? What am I missing about this? Takes. Ah, we get to add another defender or attacker with tempo because of the queen. I see. So it's defended tactically by this. I was imagining this. But then they can just like grab my bishop. This way, the queen has to move or else take here, in which case I get this pawn move that's pretty nice, I think. I didn't see the idea of going forward to attack that knight. Okay, that didn't happen. I was happy to open that file up. We'll find out later. Stockfish agrees, I guess. And this move, I like this knight move. I think this must be the best move. They don't want to take, so they have to run with the queen. This bishop move is interesting. I don't know if it's good, but the idea was to create a discovery with the knight of some kind or other. And then we did that, and they had to go back with the queen, and then we get all this stuff harassing her. Rook here, probably good. Because it gets my queen to this lovely square. And then they blundered the game. And I'm pretty sure I did not give up the win at any point. I don't think my opponent missed a win in the endgame. I'm sure I could have converted it better / faster somehow, but this was good enough for me. All right, let's now ask Stockfish what it thinks. Yeah, that was the rook move. So indeed, I did not drop the win at any point once I was up a rook. All right. So 3 blunders. This one. This is a blunder. I thought this move was fine. I thought this was like an only move. I didn't even consider anything else. What's the problem with this? I mean, it could be that I have like some tactic. I don't see one. Like knight here is a possibility, but it's defended twice and attacked twice, so that capture won't work out. Maybe bishop here, pinning the knight, so that then I can capture here. That seems like an interesting idea. Make more use of this queen. Oh, this is pinned. Oh, this is the one where it said I should castle, right? I think. I'm too scared to do that. No, this isn't that move. But it would be nice because castling opens up the opportunity to make this attack. So I think castling long would be okay here. Nope. Oh yeah, because they can always just trade bishops and trade minor pieces rather and ruin my king's new home. Do I have to back up with the queen all the way to here? I kind of don't like that either. Yeah, there's this. Ugh. I don't know. What's the answer? Bishop here. Another defender for this square, I guess. Hmm. And helping my king castle. Okay, sure. Yeah, that makes sense. I think I was considering a move like this. Maybe I was considering this move maybe at this point, maybe at some later point. But I was scared about blocking the queen in and maybe not being able to escape like this. But okay, apparently it works. Now here, I thought this was nice because while I do lose a good bishop for a kind of weak knight, oh no, it's a good knight actually. I lose a good bishop for it, but I close this file back off, and presumably they take here, right? And then I have stuff like this pawn push. It's not currently supported, but someday it could be, and forking these two pieces would be nice. So I like this idea. Apparently, it's no good. The only other thing I think you could do in this position would be to move the queen, because there's no way to capture the knight. And there's only like 3 queen moves that are not obviously horrible. Right? These knights control this entire diagonal. The pawn's here. So she has to go to one of like these 3 squares. Let me actually draw them with. Has to go to one of these 3 squares, so she's gonna get away. And well, I mean, I guess we could try a counterattack against the enemy queen, but it doesn't work, right? Here, 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 they just now take the queen. So that's no good. So maybe here to keep an eye on this still and this pawn. No. Here to attack this pawn? No, that's worse. Well, we'll try the third move, and if they're all bad, it'll mean I've misanalyzed and there is some way to save the queen other than moving it. It likes here. So, like, what's wrong with, say, this? There's some sack over here they're considering, but there's also this? This file could open up and be a problem for the queen, I guess is the idea. They want to push here, and I don't want to capture. But if I don't, they get this. I see. I also don't want to not capture. I don't want to let this happen. But maybe I have to. Whereas if here, it says, don't worry about this. Well, why not, though? Because now I can take, and apparently that's fine. Huh. I don't understand why that's so great, but okay, fine. Now, I took the knight here, and apparently I have some better tactic. Hmm. There's no moves that threaten the enemy queen at all, except this one. Which, I mean, she could trade. I think that would be okay. I guess that would be an improvement for me. But not massive, I think. Hmm. I mean, this bishop was the only thing defending the queen, and she's not defended now, is why I'm saying there's got to be some tactic against her. But I don't see it. There's this knight move, which is going nowhere, I think. This is just taken by the bishop. Well, I guess the knight move unveils this attack, which is something. Maybe the point is to do something threatening with the knight, and then they either react to this or they react to the knight threat. That was what I tried to do. I captured here and forced them to defend with the queen, which I thought would make them uncomfortable. Maybe I can do something better? I don't really see anything. What am I supposed to do? Go here? It's not really threatening to get anywhere. Maybe here, I guess? Yeah, maybe that's the idea. Here, then they defend the pawn. Then here? Blockading the pawn, attacking the queen and the bishop? So suppose here, and they defend the pawn with a rook. Now this. Seems good. But it's a nice knight. I don't really want to trade it for this bishop. I don't know. I traded it for a really crappy knight, so maybe I should reconsider my priorities. But I traded it for the bad bishop and for tying down the queen was the idea, I thought. And like really harassing the queen, in fact. Okay, I guess like this is the best I can come up with. It's horrible. Yeah, they just trade opening up my king and then defend the pawn. Gotta go here. Why? So they defend the pawn, okay. Oh, of course. It's the same idea. It's just that they don't have this move to capture the knight before the threat can arrive. So we get here. The queen has to back off. And then... Still not totally clear to me why this tactic works. I guess we can chase the queen a bunch. So now the knight moves. I don't know. It's just like this bishop is tactically vulnerable because he's held on to, I don't know. He's got two pieces guarding him now. Seems like he's okay, but I guess I'm taking the offensive in this line. And apparently queen here is doing something? I don't understand what. This move seems bizarre because it takes threatening the queen. I guess takes would be okay. Maybe it's getting out of this? I don't know. We attack the knight runs, and we can finally win this pawn. So instead they go for this first. Okay, we win the pawn anyway this way, I guess. Oops. Actually, I guess we don't take it yet? Huh. So there's I don't know. There's just some tactical advantage to getting a knight to e3 that can be taken advantage of eventually. But getting Stockfish to show me how to do it is hard. I thought this was cool, but I mean apparently not. Okay, now here Rook b1 gives up a lot. So am I supposed to take first? Forcing this? Or... Yeah, it has to be that. They don't want to take queen, I think, because I'm going here anyway. So takes. Now rook here. I don't really follow why that's so much better. It's not. Oh, do I have a threat like this? If takes, then takes, and I have a powerful queen supporting a powerful pawn who wants to do some nice things. Um, and if not takes some other move, then I have this. I have this push coming up next, forking these guys, supported by a pawn. So even if bishop takes, I take again, supported by a rook. Yeah, this actually seems like a good move. Huh. So takes. Oh. That's not what I had in mind. I had in mind retakes, but I guess this is even better. It creates a real nuisance pawn. And we can then retake. Yes, sure, that's a good in-betweener. We get a really strong rook. Okay. And that was my last mistake. Fair enough. Well, aside from my mistakes in the opening, actually, like the one mistake that I saw in the opening ended up not costing that much. This queen move drops half a pawn. It was bad, but nobody really capitalized on it. The problem was that it was bad, right? It's what caused this whole fiasco over here, which is where I made two different mistakes. So I'm kind of surprised this is +7. We obviously take with knight, and they recapture. And, I mean, at this point, they're just up a pawn, right? Oh, let's get out of learn from your mistakes. They're just up a pawn, but they're threatening this knight, who's undefended, and also pinned to my rook. I see, that is a problem. And I assume there's some problem with this, like knight here. Oh, or just bishop takes, yeah, sure. So the queen can't defend the knight. The king could, but soon I'll have problems, I suppose. Like being uncastled in the center when there are major pieces on both of these files. That's the big problem. Okay. So it doesn't just drop a pawn, it drops like my whole center control and my king position and this knight. Got it. So that was the big blunder that I noticed a little bit later and that my opponent apparently never noticed. Or if they did, noticed after it was too late. All right, well, hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.